You've probably walked out the door more times than you can count. Keys, phone, maybe a grocery list in your purse. But have you ever wondered what you carry energetically, not in a spiritual, abstract way? I mean quite literally, the small items in your bag or pocket that influence how grounded, lucky, or scattered you feel throughout the day. There are things we keep with us out of habit, but rarely do we think about how they shape our energy, or how the absence of one small object can quietly shift our mood, our decisions, even our confidence. Some days just feel off, and we chalk it up to poor sleep or bad timing. But sometimes what's missing is structure, a quiet anchor or a gentle reminder to pause before we react. That's where the idea of intentional carrying comes in. It's not about superstition or chasing luck. It's about creating small moments of alignment in your everyday life. Tiny objects with quiet power. You might already have them at home, tucked in a drawer, forgotten. Today we'll explore 3 small items, nothing flashy or expensive, that you can carry with you to subtly support your energy, keep you grounded, and yes, open the door to better luck and flow. These aren't charms, they're tools, symbols, things that whisper to your nervous system you're steady, you're supported. And the best part, you don't need to change who you are. You don't need to believe in anything you don't already feel. You just need to pay attention. Because sometimes fortune doesn't arrive like fireworks. It shows up quietly when the right things are already in your pocket. Item 1: metal, a silent anchor that keeps money from slipping away. Think about the last time you felt financially steady, not just because the bills were paid or the numbers added up, but because you felt grounded, clear, capable. Now ask yourself this: was that feeling tied to something you could hold, something small, solid, real? For many people, the answer is yes, though they may not realize it. There's a quiet kind of power in metal, not the loud clang of machinery or the shine of something ornamental, but the simple, weighty presence of a small metal object in your hand or your pocket. A keychain, a coin, a charm that's been with you so long it almost feels like a part of you. It doesn't talk, it doesn't glow, but it stays. That in itself is a form of stability. In a world that constantly shifts prices, plans, emotions, there's something deeply reassuring about a thing that doesn't change, that doesn't ask anything of you and yet reminds you who you are. Metal grounds you, not in a mystical way, but in a deeply human one. When you hold something with just enough weight, your body responds, your mind slows down, you stop spinning, you return to yourself. It's not magic, it's memory. Somewhere deep in your nervous system, there's a quiet signal: you're okay, you're not floating, you're home. This is especially important in moments of financial stress, when decisions are murky, when doubt creeps in, when you feel like you're losing your grip. In those moments, you need something to hold, not a concept, not a belief, something real, something metal. We often think of wealth as something we chase, something far away. But what if the first step toward financial security isn't outside of us, but something we carry within, or in this case, with us, in energy awareness? Metal is the element of structure, of boundaries, of focus. You build houses on metal beams for a reason. You can't build a life, let alone a legacy, on shifting ground. When you carry a metal object with you, especially one you've chosen with intention, you're doing more than filling your purse or pocket. You're anchoring your energy. You're telling your mind, this day has shape, this moment has direction, I can trust myself. Let's make this more tangible. Think about a small coin, worn smooth at the edges, maybe from years of passing through hands. It's not worth much in dollars, but in meaning, it could be everything. Every time you reach for your wallet and feel its edge, you're reminded of value, not the world's idea of it, but yours. A keychain, perhaps one with a simple gold ring or a metal charm that clicks softly when it moves, can act as a tether between who you are and who you're becoming. It doesn't need to sparkle. It needs to feel right, solid, clean, whole. And yes, condition matters. Just as a cracked foundation can weaken a building, a broken or tarnished metal object can subtly shift how you feel. If it's chipped, if it's dirty, if it feels like it's seen better days, it might be reflecting something you no longer want to carry. That's not superstition, that's alignment. Our external world mirrors our internal one more than we think. When you respect the things you carry, you're also respecting your energy, your story, your future. There's another layer to this. In traditional Eastern philosophy, metal doesn't just hold energy, it interacts with other forces. Most notably, it supports water. And water energetically is the flow of money. Fluid, fast, often unpredictable. But here's the key: water can't stay unless something holds it. Think of a river without banks, it becomes a flood. But a river with strong metal bridges, with clear boundaries, becomes a path, direction, momentum. The metal object you carry isn't just for grounding, it's for holding. holding space, holding abundance, holding your mindset steady when life isn't. Let me give you a simple example. Many people, without realizing it, go into meetings, interviews, or transactions carrying nervous energy. And that energy walks in before they do. It clouds communication. It tightens their shoulders. It rushes their thinking. But when you hold a metal object, a familiar one that reminds you of your center, it acts like a pause button, a quiet click into alignment. And from that place, you make better decisions. You listen more. You say only what needs to be said. You walk out with clarity, not questions. There's also something to be said for visual cues. Gold-toned objects, for instance, carry the subtle energy of prestige, longevity, and inner radiance. Not flashy gold, not a performance, just a soft glow, a reminder that wealth isn't noise, it's quiet confidence. A gold keyring, a polished brass button on a favorite accessory, even a metal zipper that feels smooth and strong. These are not decorations, they're messages to yourself and to the world. One time, a woman in her 60s told me she always carried the same silver coin her father gave her when she turned 18. It wasn't rare, it wasn't valuable in the traditional sense, but whenever she felt anxious about bills, about change, about uncertainty, she'd take it out, hold it for a second, then put it back. It doesn't fix things, she said, but it reminds me I've been through worse and I'm still here. That's the quiet work of metal, not to change the world around you, but to change how you meet it. Here's what I'd like to invite you to do. Today or tomorrow, find one metal object that feels meaningful to you. It doesn't have to be new. In fact, it's better if it has a little story behind it. Clean it, hold it, place it somewhere you'll remember, and before you step out of the house, take it with you, not because you need it, but because you're choosing to walk with intention, with weight, with presence. You don't have to tell anyone, you don't have to explain, but over time you may begin to notice a shift, a steadiness in your breath, a quiet thought that shows up just when you need it, an interaction that feels smoother than usual. And when that happens, don't be surprised, because energy listens. And sometimes all it takes is one small piece of metal to remind the world and yourself that you're not drifting, you're rooted. So, as you move forward, let this be your quiet wealth ritual. Don't just carry your wallet and phone. Carry something that carries you, something that says, I stay grounded even when the world moves fast. And in that simple act, you may find the foundation for something much greater than luck. You may find peace, you may find clarity, and slowly, without force or fanfare, you may begin to hold on to what truly matters, because now you're no longer leaking energy, you're holding it steady. Item 2, something round and reflective, a mirror that protects your field. You walk into a room and something feels off. No one says anything unkind, no one stares too long, but the air is different, heavy maybe, or slightly cold. You can't quite explain it, but your chest tightens, your shoulders tense. You suddenly question your outfit or your words. Then you brush it off, smile politely, and move through the rest of your day, carrying a weight that wasn't yours to begin with. This is the kind of subtle drain we don't often talk about. It's not just bad energy, it's energy that doesn't belong to you but still finds a way in. That's where the mirror comes in, not the one hanging in your bathroom, not the one you check your lipstick in. I'm talking about something small, round, reflective, something you carry with you not for vanity but for quiet protection. A compact mirror, a shiny coin, a polished pendant. These aren't fashion accessories. They are shields, gentle but firm. They don't block life. They simply soften what tries to stick to you. They redirect what doesn't belong. There's a reason cultures around the world have used reflective surfaces to ward off negativity. Not because of superstition, but because of what reflection represents: awareness, boundaries. The moment you see your own reflection, even accidentally, you return to yourself, you pause, you breathe. You remember you're not responsible for other people's moods or projections, and that small pause might be the very thing that saves your day. A reflective object, especially one that's round, carries two kinds of energy at once. First, the circle, the symbol of wholeness, of cycles, of continuity. It's the shape of the moon, the seasons, the breath. There is no edge, no stopping point, just flow. When energy moves in circles, it doesn't get stuck, it doesn't break, it renews. Then there's the surface, reflective, clean, clear. A mirror doesn't absorb, it bounces. And when you carry that energy with you, you become less porous, less vulnerable to the moods, opinions, and chaos of others. Think about how often we walk through environments that are emotionally charged. The waiting room at the doctor's office, the tension in a family gathering, the subtle competitiveness of a work event. You don't always notice it at first, but your body does. You leave feeling exhausted, unfocused, sometimes even sad for no clear reason. You picked something up and never had a chance to set it down. Now imagine if you had a buffer, a quiet companion in your purse or your coat pocket that helped redirect some of that static before it hit you fully. A polished pendant that glints in the sunlight when you adjust your keys, a smooth coin that catches your eye as you reach for your credit card. These tiny visual cues aren't just aesthetic, they are signals, little nudges that remind you check in, realign, protect your peace, but let's be honest, this only works when your mirror is intact. A cracked compact, even with just a tiny chip in the corner, doesn't just distort your reflection. It sends a distorted message to your subconscious. Something's broken, something's off, and slowly, without realizing it, you carry that feeling with you. That's why condition matters. A clean, whole mirror reflects clarity. A damaged one amplifies confusion. It's not about being fussy, it's about being intentional. You deserve to carry tools that serve you, not sabotage you. Some women prefer a literal mirror, one they can pull out and look into. Others choose symbolic mirrors, a circular locket with a glossy finish, a piece of mother of pearl, a coin that shines just enough to catch the light. What matters most isn't the object, it's the relationship you build with it. When you choose to carry it, clean it, respect it, you turn it into a boundary, not the kind that walls you off, but the kind that keeps you safe while still letting you connect. There's also something beautifully empowering about catching a glimpse of your reflection unexpectedly, not to fix your hair, but to see yourself. To pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? Is this mine, or did I absorb it from the space I'm in? Most people don't pause long enough to ask those questions, but when you do, you interrupt a cycle. You stop the quiet leak of energy before it drains your entire day. One woman told me she started carrying a small mirror in her wallet after a particularly hard season of caregiving. She was constantly surrounded by stress, hers and everyone else's. She said the mirror became her reset button, not because she stared into it all day, but because it reminded her, even just by touch, that she was allowed to have her own energy field. It helped me remember where I ended and everyone else began, she said. That's the wisdom of reflection, not just seeing your face, but reclaiming your space. Round reflective objects also offer a kind of softness. Unlike sharp edges or square forms, circles don't cut. They cradle, they suggest harmony, completion, a safe return to center. That energy matters, especially as we get older, wiser, and more attuned to the cost of chronic stress. We don't have the time or the desire to carry what isn't ours. We want to show up fully but not be emptied in the process. And sometimes, that starts with a simple shimmer of light in your purse. So here's a quiet invitation. Find something reflective and round. Make it yours. It could be a mirror you already own or a new item you choose with care. Keep it clean. Check it often, not just for smudges, but for connection. Let it become more than an object. Let it become a pause, a moment, a space between reaction and response. You might be surprised how much more clearly you see not just yourself, but the world around you when you carry that kind of clarity with you. And if the object breaks, let it go. Don't patch it, don't force it, replace it, not because you're fragile, but because your energy field deserves protection that's whole, unbroken, steady. Sometimes replacing something small becomes a symbolic act of renewal, a way to say, I'm no longer reflecting what drains me, I'm reflecting what restores me. This isn't about being superstitious, it's about being awake, intentional. And when you begin to walk through life with that kind of self-awareness, you carry a different kind of presence. People feel it, opportunities respond to it, and your own body, your breath, your heart, your energy settles into a rhythm that feels like home. So tomorrow, before you head out into the noise of the world, take a moment, find your object, let it catch the light, let it catch you, and know that while the world may be chaotic, you don't have to be, because now you carry a mirror, and mirrors don't just show the truth, they help you hold on to it. Item 3. Color, a frequency you choose to wear. Color isn't just what you see, it's what you feel long before your eyes register it. Think of the warm hush of golden sunlight in the late afternoon, the sudden lift in your chest when someone walks in wearing a bold red scarf, the calm that settles over a space dressed in soft whites and gentle greens. These aren't just visual choices, they're energetic frequencies, and whether you realize it or not, you respond to them. Most of us pick colors based on habit. What matches our coat, what feels neutral, what we haven't worn in a while. But what if every color you wore or carried was more than style? What if it was a silent language, a quiet signal to your emotions, your energy field, and the world around you? Because that's exactly what color is, vibration made visible. And like music, it either lifts you or drains you, grounds you or sparks you. You get to choose which notes you carry. The color you wear or tuck into your pocket or your purse can act like a tuning fork for your energy. It's subtle, yes, but the body doesn't need loud to understand. The nervous system listens closely to rhythm, tone, and hue. That's why certain colors make us feel safe, others make us feel brave, and some we avoid without knowing why. It's not just preference, it's memory, frequency, resonance. Take red, for instance. It doesn't just scream for attention, it burns, it moves, it calls. Red is the color of boldness, ignition, momentum. It belongs to people ready to act or people who need a nudge. It's the energy of fire, and not the kind that rages, but the kind that warms, glows, and clears the air. Carrying a small red item, a thread on your wrist, a corner of a red fabric in your wallet, can act like an inner flare, not to be seen but to be felt. A reminder you're allowed to begin again. You're allowed to go after what you want. Green moves differently. It doesn't shout, it grows quietly, steadily. It's the color of long-term plans, healing, and expansion. Think of gardens, of trees that take roots slowly and rise with patience. Green doesn't ask you to rush, it invites you to breathe, to tend, to stay. If you're in a season where you're building your health, your career, your family's well-being, green is your companion. Even a small green ribbon, a button, or detail stitched into your bag can act like a seed you carry daily. A promise, you're not starting over, you're still growing. Then there's white, often overlooked because it feels simple, plain, expected, but that's its strength. White clears space, it resets, it purifies. Energetically, it invites clarity, especially when you feel overwhelmed, entangled, or unsure. A white handkerchief in your bag, a pale bead on your bracelet, even a clean note card tucked near your phone can feel like a breath of fresh air. Like wiping the slate and remembering you don't have to carry everything. You're allowed to return to stillness. And gold carries the quiet hum of dignity. It doesn't push. It doesn't beg for applause, it simply shines. Gold energy holds wealth, not just material but spiritual. It reflects inner worth. When you carry something golden, you carry the message, I know what I bring to the table. You don't need to say it, the frequency speaks for you. A gold zipper, a glimmering charm, even a warm-toned coin can anchor that reminder. You are enough, you are radiant. You don't have to try so hard, you just have to be. Here's what makes color so powerful, it's personal. You don't need anyone else to see it for it to work. In fact, its real magic lies in how you relate to it, how you choose it, and how you carry it. That red thread isn't decoration, it's a declaration. That green tag isn't random, it's a ritual. And that flash of gold in your keychain, it's not about status, it's about alignment. A woman once told me she wore a pale blue scarf during every important decision in her life. Not because it was lucky, but because it reminded her of her grandmother's voice, calm, steady, always saying, you already know. That scarf became her anchor, her affirmation, her cue to listen inward before making a move. That's the power of color, not as a costume, but as memory, as meaning, as movement. But just as important as the colors we do carry are the ones we let go. That blouse you wear out of obligation but feel heavy in. That bag that no longer feels like you. The overused neutral that blends you into rooms you were meant to stand out in. These aren't just fashion missteps, they're energetic mismatches, and over time they dull your spark. Don't let them. Color shouldn't exhaust you, it should uplift you even if only you know it's there. A bright swatch inside your purse, a single stitch in your coat lining, a secret pop under your sleeve. The beauty of this practice is that no one has to see it. The energy still moves. So here's the invitation. Pick one color that feels like the support you need right now. Not the one that matches your outfit, but the one that matches your spirit. Are you in a season of courage? Choose red, a time of patience and growth. Green, a moment where you need space to breathe and decide again. White, or maybe you're remembering your value. Gold, always. Once you choose it, find a way to carry it, not perform it. Tuck it into your day like a whisper, make it yours. And carry it not out of habit, but with intent. Because every time you see it, touch it, or remember it's there, you tune yourself. You vibrate differently, you move with more grace, and that difference, it's how you begin to shift your luck, not all at once, but day by day, thread by thread. Color is not magic, but it is memory, it is meaning, it is message. And when you wear it with presence, it becomes power, soft, quiet, but unmistakable. So tomorrow, before you leave the house, don't just ask what you're wearing, ask what energy you're carrying. What color will speak for you today, and will it say, I'm hiding or I'm here? Soft warning what you might be carrying that quietly blocks you. Sometimes it's not about what you need to add, it's about what you need to release. We often carry things out of habit, a receipt here, a keychain we haven't looked at in months, a lipstick case from 2 purses ago, a faded note that once meant something but now just sits, folded and forgotten. And while none of these things seem harmful, they create clutter, not just in your bag, but in your energy field. They tell stories you've outgrown, vibrate at frequencies that no longer match yours, and in the softest ways, they begin to pull you backward. This is the part most people overlook. It's easy to bring in something new, a charm, a coin, a color, but it takes more presence to recognize what no longer belongs, what's stale, what's leaking, what's quietly muting the clarity you're trying to cultivate. Let's begin with the most common one: bills, debt reminders, or old receipts stuffed into your wallet. For years, many of us have treated our wallets like mini filing cabinets, full of proof that we've paid, or worse, proof that we still owe. But money energy is deeply sensitive. It notices what surrounds it. When your cash sits next to reminders of loss, electric bills, credit card slips, your subconscious receives a message: I'm behind, I'm in lack, I'm still paying for the past. You don't have to believe in energy to feel the heaviness of that. So here's the shift: give your bills a separate place at home, in a folder, organized, respected, but not carried with you daily. Let your wallet become a place of welcome, not worry. Let it hold only what reflects financial health, no matter how small. Clean money, a charm of wealth, a space for something new. Because otherwise, even if money comes in, it might hesitate to stay. Next, damaged or broken items. We tell ourselves they're still useful. That one missing zipper doesn't matter. That frayed corner on the bag isn't visible. That charm with a missing piece still works because it has sentimental value. But here's the truth: broken objects carry broken energy. When something's torn, cracked, or incomplete, it no longer functions in full integrity, and the energy it gives off matches that. Carrying something damaged is like whispering to the world, I accept less, I settle. I'm holding on to what no longer fully supports me. That's not judgment, it's awareness. We all do it. But when you're trying to build stability, attract flow, and feel confident, these quiet leaks can undo your efforts without you realizing why. So take 5 minutes this week to go through what you carry every day: your purse, your coat pocket, your keychain. If something is worn past repair, if it's torn, dirty, or simply feels off, let it go, not in guilt, but in gratitude. It served you once. It doesn't need to walk with you now. Replacing something isn't wasteful when it honors your energy. Then there's the most tender category: objects tied to grief, endings, or heavy memories. Maybe it's a ring from a loved one who's passed, a scarf from a marriage that's over, a photo tucked in your wallet that reminds you of someone you still ache for. These items matter, they are sacred, but they don't always belong in your daily energy field. Here's why: grief carries a stillness, a pause, a weight. And when you carry that weight with you everywhere, even subtly, it can slow your steps towards something new. It doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It doesn't mean you're forgetting. It just means that honoring someone's memory doesn't always mean carrying it like armor. Sometimes true reverence is giving it a quiet place to rest, on a shelf, in a drawer near your altar. A woman once shared with me that she carried her late husband's wedding band in her coat pocket for over a year. She didn't want to let go, but over time she noticed she felt heavier every time she reached into that pocket. It reminded me I was still living in goodbye, she said. Eventually she moved the ring to a small box on her nightstand with candles, dried flowers, and their photo. Now it feels like love, not loss, she told me. That's the shift from carrying to honoring. And finally, one of the most overlooked energetic disruptors: sharp or aggressive shapes. This might surprise you, but objects with pointed tips, keychains shaped like arrows, jagged jewelry, even novelty tools carry a kind of energetic edge. In physical form, they often signal defense, protection, power, but in subtle energy, they can also signal stress, aggression, even mistrust. The result: you move through your day with energy that says, I'm guarded, I'm bracing, I'm not safe. And people feel that. Conversations may stay surface level. Opportunities feel harder to grab. Interactions carry friction, even if it's unspoken. That's not what most of us want. We want warmth, trust, open channels. Energy that's soft enough to welcome others, but strong enough to hold our ground. That's why rounded shapes work better. A smooth pendant, a teardrop stone, a lotus leaf charm, they send the message, I'm protected, but I'm also open. That's the balance we're after, not walls, just wise doors. So how do you begin shifting? Start by gently emptying your purse, your wallet, your daily carry. Lay it all out, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, does this item still serve me? Does it reflect the energy I want to carry forward? Does it uplift me or drain me even a little? Keep what feels clear, whole, supportive. Release what feels heavy, broken, outdated, or dim. And most of all, trust your body's signals, the small exhale you make when you let something go. The way your fingers linger longer on an item you love, that's guidance. That's energy speaking to you, not in language, but in feeling. Because at the end of the day, your purse isn't just a container for things. It's a mobile energy field, a reflection of what you value, what you remember, and what you're ready to create. Treat it as such, with care, with clarity, with consciousness. And when you do, when you no longer carry what drains you, you make space for what restores you. You become lighter, clearer, more magnetic, not because of some law of attraction, but because your energy is no longer tangled in stories you've outlived. You're walking forward, cleanly, quietly, powerfully, and that in itself is the most sacred kind of luck. Final, maybe after everything we've explored today, you're realizing something you hadn't noticed before, that you've been walking through life carrying more than just a purse. You've been carrying habits, stories, hopes, and sometimes quiet weights that no longer belong to you. We often think change requires something big, loud, dramatic. But what if all it takes is one small item carried with awareness to shift how your day unfolds? What if a coin isn't just a coin, but a reminder to stay grounded? What if a mirror isn't just glass, but a shield that reflects back your strength? And what if a thread of color in your pocket is more than style, but a promise you're making to yourself? What you carry matters, not because of superstition, but because energy, emotion, and memory live in objects, and you get to choose what walks beside you. Not everything deserves a seat in your life. Not every item, every thought, every weight. And when you finally start curating, not just your bag, but your field, you'll feel it, the shift, the lightness, the quiet kind of confidence that doesn't ask for attention because it already knows its value. So as you head into tomorrow, I hope you pause, not out of fear, but out of care. I hope you look into your bag and ask, does this support me? And when the answer is yes, I hope you carry it proudly, knowing it's more than an object. It's a reflection of who you're becoming. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for listening, not just to these words, but to the part of yourself that knew you were ready to hear them. May you carry only what honors you. May you release what weighs you down. And may every step you take from this moment forward feel just a little more like coming home to yourself. Until next time, be gentle with your energy and trust what you carry quietly often speaks the loudest.